Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show. That's my Trump train taking off, and the tariff wars are going on, and the world is lurching in this direction, that direction. But we're finding how to make your life more secure every day. And today I've got some experts in cybersecurity. Now, why would that be a subject? Do you remember, by the way, welcome Mercedes, you're on the show today.
Hi, Lance. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm about to introduce.
That was one of the funniest intros I've ever gotten. By the way,
I'm getting the train moving today. And on the show, I've got two experts in cybersecurity who are going to talk to us because this incident with the Signal thing that the left jumped upon to try to get rid of Pete Hegseth, and he's talking about war plans on WhatsApp or whatever they're saying. The reality is, when Trump, before the president got in office, we were all worried about the surveillance state. They took my program down, 200,000 subscribers, and they took me off of YouTube. You know why? I said something that wasn't Maoist, communist, politically correct. Off with his head. And so I became very interested in this guy here we're going to be talking to now, John Reese, Dr. John Reese, and Michael Avery, who is the Chief Information Officer with a background in aerospace and financial services and cybersecurity. Gentlemen, welcome to the show today.
Hello, Lance.
John here to my left, friend of mine, full disclosure. I know John. I know him personally, and it's probably why it's taken so long to get you on the show. The more I know you, the more suspect you are. but
with good reason.
Said, Michael Avery, you have your background is in aerospace and cybersecurity and financial. How do you end up bridging all three of those? Financial security, aerospace, and cybersecurity.
Well, I started my career with IBM in New York and eventually became an IBM business partner. I had a company in New York that was an IBM business partner, eventually a tier one IBM business partner with subject matter expertise in cybersecurity, cloud computing, and business continuity. And being in the New York geographic area, we were assigned to the financial services team of IBM and supported them in their marketing efforts in that industry.
So I get it now. So that you bridge two competencies that help out John with what his vision is. So John, you were on the you became passionate about the cybersecurity thing. How come?
Well, back in 2019, I was at a meeting that we've both attended, and a guy got up on stage and said, the Democratic fundraising machine, Act Blue, has raised almost $5 billion for liberal causes. The Republicans have spent $50 million and are still 10 years behind. And so that started me thinking, and so we started on a track to create a secure and a comprehensive payment platform and fundraising platform for conservative causes. That was called oneforall.us. And we launched that product, and it was viable. It was an aggregator of information on issues, organizations, and candidates designed to identify the 70% of Americans who are either, so hard right you can't talk to them, or so hard left that they're lunatics. Give them complete information in an unbiased, unfiltered, and uncensored way. Educate them in that manner, and then allow them to be mobilized to act, whether it be donating to organizations, whether it be to fund things themselves, run for office, what have you. And we launched that, and we were going gangbusters, and then we got run off the rails by a series of events that I don't think I should talk about on camera, but we knew that there were still going to be threats. People are going to get demonetized, as you probably have. They're going to get deplatformed, as I know you have. Right. They're going to get censored, and they're going to get their information stolen.
And I want to say, I think there's a false security. I think we live, when I think about COVID and the George Floyd riots and the masks and then the shutdowns and then we had the elections. I think we live with so much trauma and change that we tend to be disconnected from what happened previously, and we get locked into short cycles of what's happening now.
Yep.
And so the urgency for this was much stronger in terms of security, cybersecurity, when we didn't have a Donald Trump in there who looks like he's fighting, all the bad guys. But it's just a matter of 500 days, and the midterms are here, and he could get kneecapped right away from Congress, and then we have impeachment scenarios, and then in 3 years we could end up with a hostile government again. So this subject isn't going away, is it?
No, and the thing that really was the impetus for this, and really fast forward to this, was when Parler got kicked off of AWS. And not only did they get kicked off of AWS and everybody went away, but they also could not get access to their data because AWS would not give it to them.
What's AWS?
Amazon Web Services.
Okay.
Yes. And so that's where a lot of guys, you hear about the cloud. Well, the cloud is Amazon Web Services, or is it Azure, the Microsoft product? Azure, yeah. So Mike's my tech guy. He backs me up on these things.
I see you like talking to your attorney over there. How serious is the threat of surveillance for people like in my audience out there? They're believers, they're conservative. Right now they may not worry about it, but after January 6th, man, everybody, all my friends were off going to, what was the app that everybody was on? I forget which one it was. Signal. They were all going over there. And it was like they didn't want to even text me. They were afraid the government was watching. I said, you're not that big, the government's watching you. But they are watching me, so don't tell me anything you don't want me to know. But what's the threat of surveillance for people?
Well, people, like you said, they have a false sense of security, and they don't understand that when it's out in the cyberspace, it's out there, and a lot of times it never goes away. That's why these kids get in so much trouble on their social media apps, because they put things out.
They do stupid stuff, and then it follows them around for their career,
for their whole lives. Yeah, you're right. But everything you have out there is at risk, and also, you mentioned Signal, but the other apps, messaging apps, especially like WhatsApp, their whole business model is, they're free to download these apps, right? But they're not free for you because they're marketing your data. WhatsApp, for instance, was purchased in 2014 by the company that owns Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, for $19 billion in 2014, 11 years ago.
And Instagram.
Well, they just purchased WhatsApp at that time for $19 billion, yeah. And they had zero revenues. But what they did have was thousands of data points on people all over the world. So they're harvesting all this data on you, on every habit you've got, and they're selling that, and they're making a fortune off of it.
Well, and that's why they say, like, you're the product. You're like, it's a free app. And you're like, no, it's not free. They've got all of your data, and they're selling it, and they're using it and marketing you, or God knows what else. Yeah. So that's why, I think like what Sean's made, which we haven't even gotten to yet, which is titanium. And I mean, we referenced your first platform you did there, but the real thing we want to talk about is titanium and how you built the secure messaging.
There's an evolution. You had that one platform, then you created this other one, titanium. How is that different than the original one, which was a fundraising platform for political causes?
So the Titanium platform is a secure communications platform. You can do a desktop video conference like you can on Zoom or Teams. You can do a chat like you can on your text messaging.
I'm going to stop you for a second because this is important.
Okay,
got to slow down on this because my audience is they're not. We want to educate them on something which you're already familiar with. I remember doing Zoom calls with our organizations that you and I work with.
Right.
And there was tremendous anxiety because of China having so much access to Zoom. I didn't even know what Zoom was China controlled, whatever. There was this anxiety that you didn't even have, that you had to be careful what you say. And every now and then, the thought that China or another country has access to these conversations, or that other people can actually get access to your data or your conversation on Zoom, never occurred to me that was actually a cause of concern. But it is potentially, isn't it?
Totally. It is. If you read their terms of service and their privacy policy, you agree to allow them access to almost anything you say and anything you share on their platforms. So ours, obviously, the terms of service and the privacy policies prevent that. We don't collect any data on our users. We don't store any data on their communications or any documents they share, and we certainly don't sell any data. We also don't collaborate with other platforms, meaning that we're in a closed loop. So when you're on our Titanium Secure Communications platform, you're communicating only with Titanium users, and it's a totally closed envelope, and there's no doors to the outside, and also which means there's no doors from the outside to the inside.
Mm. And how are you different than, say, like Signal? Because like I have a couple of friends that well, unfortunately, had to testify in front of Congress a few times, and everything on their phone was pulled. Every app, they didn't have to get a subpoena. They went directly to tech companies. Everything was pulled except for Signal. Yeah. So how are you an improvement even upon that?
So I'll let Michael explain in more detail on a technical basis, but from my non-technical brain, I always tell people my tech skills come with a chisel and a piece of slate. I would make a good fill-in on the Flintstones, but
which isn't comforting because his background is being a dentist.
So there are chisels that used to be used in dentistry. But the point is that we don't store anything at all on our servers. So when a message passes through our server and it's delivered, it's gone. And if it stays on our server, for instance, if you're on an airplane and can't get the message, or you've got your phone turned off, or whatever the case may be, if it stays there a specified period of time and it's not delivered, it goes away even then. So we don't allow. You can also set your messages on our system like you can on Signal, and I think you can on WhatsApp too, to disappear. And you can set them down to 1 second. So as soon as that person receiving the message sees it, it goes away in 1 second, or you can turn it off completely if you've got something that you don't want to go away. So the difference in the vulnerabilities are that, number one, we're not storing anything. Number two, we're not selling anything. We're not sharing anything. So you're safe in the fact that if somebody did try to get your information from us, they can't get it. If you're careless and you don't delete things off of your phone, we're not responsible for the hygiene of your own devices.
Michael, you have used the term quantum resistant technology. What is that?
So quantum resistant encryption, which is what we're using, QRE, is a type of encryption that is resistant to quantum computing. Quantum computing is the next generation of computing. And what it will bring to the table is very high speed, magnitudes greater than what we're experiencing now with classical computing. With a quantum computer, which is technology that we're working on as Americans, both in the government sector as well as the private sector. Boeing, IBM, Google, Microsoft, they're all working on it, as well as the Chinese and some nation-state actors. With quantum computing, one can break the current encryption that we all use. With quantum-resistant encryption, you can't break it. So, by using titanium communications, we're future-proofing your communications, and it's in the background. You don't have to turn anything on. It's always there. It's always working for you. And all of your communications are secure, whether they be text messages, voice, video, conferencing, all secure at the quantum level.
So it's text messaging, video, live conference, Zoom conference, same quality. How many people can you get on a Zoom call one time with your technology right now?
So in a video conference, you can get 50 people right now. As we grow, we'll enlarge that. But that's enough for most corporation type uses. And then also you can share screens like you can on the other video conferencing platforms. You can make a voice call either from your desktop or from your telephone. You can make a video call on a one-on-one or a group. You can send a text or a chat to a group.
So here's what I would say. If you're working with other people on a project, you're in business, you need some kind of secure communication. You're talking about a rally that you're going to go to, a rally you're going to do, and you're involved with a conservative sphere. 1,001 uses I can think of.
Not a rally. Not to secretly talk about a rally. What are you saying? Like,
No,
yes,
I'm
this
saying-
is use cases. You'd like to send mortgage information, wire information.
Yeah, well,
things that are
that's
secure,
it.
you would
I'm
like to
thinking
disappear
about. I'm
quickly.
going up to Washington for a rally, and I want everybody to know it. You tell me don't put it on
Oh,
Facebook.
my
I got to
God.
announce it somewhere.
This sounds like you're promoting, like, if you were to do nefarious things at a rally. It is not coming across the way you want it to come
I'm not
across.
saying. Did I say nefarious things? I say the fact that I'm even going to the rally.
Hilarious.
I'm telling you, even when this has happened to me. You're the one that had the FBI call you.
Hey, you know, if only
Because
I
you
had
put out
that
a prayer guide.
titaniumsecure.io. Use promo code Lance to save.
You want to do what I'm doing, titaniumsecure.io. Go to titaniumsecure.io, use code Lance. Somehow use that name Lance, and John gives you 25% off. And so that's 1/4 of the price off, titaniumsecure.io. But this is where you would go if you want to have secure Zoom calls. I don't want to have somebody just bouncing in on a Zoom call. Hey, do you remember those Zoom calls
During COVID?
During COVID, where all of a sudden people would pop up in the middle of a Zoom call, like, and they weren't even supposed to be there?
Totally. Yeah. It's a thing. I mean, they started putting passwords in, and you needed to protect it. But like John's point is, the company has access to all of that. If you are in a business, and then you think about today, like, I know we're joking, and it's like, ha ha ha, you were called by the FBI. I literally just went to the January 6th rally and I get called by the FBI. Think about them shutting down my ability to process payment. Think about them shutting down my ability to communicate, which they did, by the way. Yes, I streamed down Pennsylvania Avenue because I wasn't even there. And I was like, I don't even know what's going on. Let me walk down there because I'm on a news show. I want to cover it. So I'm walking down there. I streamed the whole thing. They pulled that. They pulled every single video that I took that day at the Ellipse of Don Jr. and Eric. All of that was scrubbed off the internet. And so don't tell me that these things aren't going to be weaponized against us in some form or fashion. If you own a business, if you're an everyday American just living their life and you want a secure way to communicate, John has built the solution for you. And I know we're joking, but now I get this wave of seriousness. But titaniumsecure.io, you need to go check it out. Use promo code Lance to save. And if you're at home going, well, why do I have to pay for it? Well, you got to pay for it because you're the product. You're not giving your information away to tech companies anymore, and they're monetizing that. So you need to actually pay for a secure platform where you could talk with your friends and families about whatever you want and exercise your God-given liberties. So anyways, I'm going to stop ranting, but I got really stoked for you said FBI and I laughed and I'm like, but you know what? I've actually been a victim of big tech.
I was with you when you got that call.
Have you ever wondered if someone was monitoring you, like nefarious tech companies, corrupt federal agencies, or hostile foreign countries? Newsflash, they are. The deep state, big tech, and China are tracking your every move and using it against you. Up until now, you've been powerless to stop it. However, Titanium Secure has cracked the code with post-quantum encryption, and we control the entire ecosystem, end to end. Join Titanium Secure today and help us vanquish the enemies of free speech. Visit titaniumsecure.io and enter the promo code on your screen for a 25% discount on your subscription.
But why is it, just to help me understand one thing, we have 6 minutes here. I gotta clarify this. So what difference does it make if they collect your data? What data are you talking about?
Well, I mean, they can collect data on every conversation you have. I think Zoom has in their terms of services, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, that they can actually listen in on your conversations and they can shut you down if they don't like you. I know that in the Microsoft Outlook terms of service, I mean, not Outlook, Office terms of service, there are things to that end. As a matter of fact, one of the organizations that you and I both worked with did some work on the Dobbs case. And because of their work on Dobbs, Microsoft and Salesforce canceled them completely. They can't use Microsoft Office and they can't use Salesforce.
Thinking Salesforce, man. I can't believe they're still in business.
So, but let's even back it down. Let's talk about just personal things. You know, let's say you've got an elderly parent who's still able to live at home, but they might be very trusting, or they might be losing a little bit of mental cognitive capabilities, and somebody calls them on the phone to scam them. You know that there was almost $5 billion stolen from senior citizens last year by these scams. Mm-hmm. So you could create a family group, and your parent or your elderly loved one could only communicate with people inside of that trusted circle on the Titanium Communication Network by the phone. Or if you've got a family group for sending photographs of your children, those things can get out on all these other platforms, especially the social media platforms.
That's a great point, because I got grandchildren now. And because the world is so crazy, I don't have any posting of them. I don't show pictures of them. And my kids don't want them out there. It's a shame that the sick world has become this way. But on Titanium Secure, I could actually post my pictures, couldn't I?
To your family, yeah.
To the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Grandparents around the world, unite. Titaniumsecure.io. Use code Lance, you save 25%. And I guess the fact that it's hosted entirely by the United States now makes sense, so that it isn't another foreign country working with you.
Right. So our servers are in the U.S., controlled by people we know and trust, and they all share our values. Nobody's allowed to work on our platform in development. Nobody is partners with us or invest in us that doesn't share our values. And we're not going to compromise. We don't plan on selling. We don't plan on going public because we want to maintain the integrity of the mission throughout our complete existence. And hopefully that surpasses my longevity.
That's awesome.
Well, if the early church had the, imagine if the Romans had the ability to listen to every conversation the first century Christians have, or if the Chinese Communist Party has the ability to listen to every underground church conversation. I mean, this is a unique freedom we have in the United States, that we can insulate ourselves from bad actors and have that kind of confidence that our communication isn't going to be broken into, manipulated, used, or otherwise secured by lawyers or government forces to try to intimidate us or misrepresent us. So you're fully operational now?
We're totally operational, yes. We can, again, you can operate on any platform, whether it be your desktop computer, your phone, or your tablet, Android or iPhone. We can do a Mac, a Windows, or a Linux computer. Again, you can have a desktop video conference, just like you can on Zoom or Teams. You can share screens. You can send documents. You can even chat while you're in that conversation with the video people or people outside of that. So anybody that's in your contact list. On your cell phone, you can again send text. You can send documents. You can send photographs. You can make a phone call. Just like you can. So it could be your primary communication tool. And if you allow Titanium access to your phone contacts, anybody that like in our group that we're in, that's in your phone contacts will automatically show up in your Titanium contacts if they're a Titanium subscriber, so you can communicate with them immediately. The other thing that's unique to us too is that because, again, we are subscription only, and the pricing is like ridiculously inexpensive for an individual without a discount at $6 per month. So your guys, if they're an individual, get it for $4.50. If it's a large group, that could go all the way down to $2 per user per month. So a corporation or a company can do that. But the cool thing is, you don't have to keep continually adding new subscription to your new subscribers to your group plan. You can buy a group plan sufficient for your everyday use. So like your organization's got 25, 30 people in it, right? So you buy a plan that's got maybe double that. And that way, anybody like me who comes on your show randomly, you can give a temporary code to. And when that code expires, 24 hours, 3 weeks, whatever you decide, then that subscription recycles into your pool, kind of like a seat at a restaurant. It gets empty and it refills. Right. And you don't have to go keep buying new chairs every day because you had lunch, right? So it's a way to minimize your costs and maximize your productivity. And that subscription expires either on its own and when the timer expires, or you can end it prematurely, or you can extend it, whatever you want to do. So that's a good way to do it for a corporation.
Well, Michael, we got a minute left here, and you're a subject matter expert on this. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you think would be helpful, or any final thoughts for our audience out there on why this is important to do?
Well, I think the thing to remember about this is that it has the best possible encryption available on the marketplace for now and for the future. Hosted in the United States by people that you know. And it's built for privacy and confidentiality. It's subscription-based for a reason, not only because we don't accept advertising and we're not selling information, but also by the process of bringing users onto the platform, we can verify who they are, so we weed out any possibility that bots or other adverse players could use the platform.
That's huge.
So for those reasons, I think it's positioned to be the most secure, the most private platform for communications.
Well, I'm telling you, if you value peace of mind, if you value security, if you value privacy, if you want to keep your intellectual property confidential, then where do they go, Mercedes?
Titaniumsecure.io. And don't forget, use promo code Lance to save 25%. Check it out.
Thank you very much for joining us today in the studio, and we're going to be back again tomorrow. You don't want to make a mistake and put this off. I suggest you check out this site right now. Go look at it because like for $4 or $5 or $6 a month, it's you're going to be grateful because you don't know what happens in the future and how the future might try to access your past. I just want to say this one thing before we go off the air.
Go for it.
In Canada, one of the wild things that Trudeau wanted to do, and then they shut him down, I'll show you how radical the left can be. They wanted to go back on social media for all commentary within the last 3 or 4 years of his administration to hear any incendiary right-wing commentary, to bring people into court, to hold them accountable for recorded comments that were made earlier that could possibly contribute to the unrest they were going through at that present time. You talk about censorship in reverse.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes you stop and think. Titaniumsecure.io. Go there today. See you again tomorrow.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to